folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen, and this week we are doing Franchise Frenzy, the Part 9's. And this series was created by the HorrorMan and Horrific Nightmares JM. So we have 10 franchises left, guys, and we're really starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel here. It's definitely getting pretty rough. So in at number 10 is going to be Hellraiser Revelations. This is the one where we get the dime store Pinhead. Because Doug Bradley did not return for this one. And he's probably glad that he did. Because, this is really a really cheap cash grab on the name of Hellraiser, trying to make a quick buck, and definitely doesn't work, and I would definitely skip this one if I were you guys. And in at number 9 is the infamous A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake from 2010, definitely heavily maligned. There's not too many people I can think of that actually like this film. It's pretty bad, I would say. It's pretty much kind of beat for beat on the original film. And, they don't really add too much to it. It's just kind of a bland rehash. And, one thing they do add is, the fact that Freddy is, accused of being a child molester. So that makes it, definitely a little bit darker, I'd say. So you definitely can't side with Freddy, because sometimes people love to cheer on Freddy, even though he's the bad guy and the villain, because, of all his crazy one-liners, and, he's fun. He's a lot of fun sometimes, But nothing fun about that. And Jack Earl Haley's portrayal of Freddy is, he does give it the old college try, and you have to give him credit for that. He is a great actor. I think the bad makeup job and kind of CGIing his face at times, it just kind of puts a damper on his performance, unfortunately, It's such a bad makeup job. The cast is really boring, and it's pretty much a lifeless remake, so definitely not one of my favorite remakes of recent memory, for sure. In at number 8 is Spiral from the Book of Saw from 2021. It's really kind of a spin-off of the Saw franchise, more than it is a sequel. Starring Chris Rock. I found it to be pretty forgettable. It's not something I remembered much after watching it. It's just kind of forgettable, and it's definitely one that I would skip anytime I have a Saw marathon. I would not include this one. And at number 7 is going to be my least favorite film in the Friday the 13th franchise, and that is Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. I will say they did try to add something different to the series, but I just didn't care for it, seeing Jason kind of possess people and jump from body to body. Like I said, it is something different, but I just didn't care much for it, and you don't see enough of Jason. You just kind of see him at the beginning get, blown to bits and sent to hell, they kind of incorporate an Evil Dead element, too, there. There's definitely a few good kills in there, that's for sure. Especially the tent scene. That's pretty brutal. Even though it did get kind of cut in the theatrical release, but in the uncut version, that's a really nasty kill. Yeah, I can't stand the look of Jason in this movie either. The big kind of bubbly head that he has, and the real small little mask that he has. Yeah, I definitely don't care for this one. In at number 6 is going to be Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. Yeah, the big crossover for Full Moon. This is like Full Moon's Freddy versus Jason. It is a lot of fun, I'd say. But nothing great, nothing too good about it. But it's just fun. Let's just put it that way. It's just fun seeing these two franchises kind of cross over, with all these wild characters. And at number 5 is The Nun 2 from 2023. Yeah, very recent one, yeah. And I didn't care for it as much as the first one, but it's decent. It's watchable. It's got a decent story to it. Yeah, it's a worthy entry in the Conjuring series. In at number 4 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the recent film from Netflix, which was supposed to be a direct sequel to the original film. And that's where I have problems with it. I feel like it definitely does not work as a sequel in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. But I will say where it does work is as a slasher movie, with Leatherface being front and center as the kind of unstoppable slasher killer. And in that aspect, I do think it works, and it's got some really nasty kills, you know. It's pretty brutal, and this version of Leatherface is very intimidating, this big, burly, intense dude, you know. But yeah, as far as, it's definitely missing that family element, even though, the only kind of family element it has is, Leatherface's kind of mother figure there, the woman that basically helped raise him over these 40 years or however long it was. And they do they reintroduce Sally Hardesty, but I really don't like how they used her character. You know, they could have did a lot better with that. I actually like the actress that portrayed her, but it was like they were trying to do a knockoff on Halloween 2018, making her like this badass, like, you know, how Laurie Strode was in Halloween 2018. But yeah, it's watchable. It's not terrible. I have a good time with it, actually. And at number 3 is going to be Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007. Yes, the remake of Halloween. And just recently at a convention I went to, I met Tyler Mane, who played Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween. Really cool guy. And yeah, Tyler Mane was also in the recent Deadpool vs. Wolverine movie. Yeah, I have a lot of issues with the remake of Halloween. There are a lot of things I like about it, though. So to me, it's like, it's definitely 50-50 for me, because there's so many things I like about it and so many things I don't like about it. So it's very middle of the road for me. Part of me wishes it hadn't actually been made, because I don't think Halloween needed to be remade, because to me it's a perfect film. So, but I can understand why they want to, you know, give it a kind of a modern spin, but it's definitely mixed results for me. Yeah, it's definitely got brutal gore, you know, it's definitely kind of almost like a grindhouse, brutal version of the original Halloween. The over-the-top gore, everything seems to be over the top. The acting is very over the top. The violence is very over the top. It's got kind of a cool kind of rock and roll soundtrack, given that, you know, Rob Zombie is the director. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely watchable. I do like the elements of, you know, looking into Michael Myers' background, and, you know, how he was when he was a kid, and they delve a little bit deeper into it than the original Halloween does. And some people say that takes away the mystery of it, and I can see people's point when they say that, but it's kind of one of the more interesting things that they added to it. Other than that, when you get into the second half, it's kind of like a real quick, straight up remake of the original film. So really the only thing new that they added to it was the beginning. They get a little bit deeper into his childhood and everything. And that's one of the things I did like about it. Next up we have Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, which is the final film in Hammer's Dracula franchise. And unfortunately, Christopher Lee did not return for this one. I kind of wish he did, but at any rate, Peter Cushing does return as Van Helsing, but it's kind of a ridiculous concept. It's blending the kung fu films of the 70s with Hammer horror, It's the thing is, it's much better than it has any right to be. It actually is pretty damn fun and entertaining. So yeah, it sounds kind of ridiculous, meshing the kung fu genre with horror, but it's a lot of fun, and this film does feature Dracula, only he's played by John Forbes Robinson this time. And, yeah, he's alright, he's decent, but, yeah, I kind of wish Christopher Lee, came back one last time to have one last final battle, with the mother of all vampires, Dracula. It's got some fun kung fu aspects to it, a great soundtrack for the 70s, and Peter Cushing is 110% effort. You're never going to get a bad performance from Peter Cushing. He just gives it all. And he actually gets into the fights, and he's very spirited in the film. But yeah, he's so much fun to watch, and it is a fun movie. It's not bad, really. And in at number 1 is going to be Alien Romulus. Yes, the newest film in the Alien franchise, which came out just this year, 2024. And, yeah, I really enjoyed the film. I think it was really well done, well made. And, yeah, they decided not to do another prequel like Prometheus or Alien Covenant, and they decided this one takes place between the original Alien from 1979 and Aliens from 1986. And they do a great job of that because it feels very authentic, the look of the film especially. It definitely looks and feels like it takes place in that world at that time, And it's got some awesome practical effects too. Yeah, not a whole lot of CGI in it. I think the one time that the CGI is apparent is probably the worst part of the movie. So yeah, anytime they use the practical effects, it looks fantastic, but when they use the CGI, it doesn't look quite as well. But yeah, like I said, everything feels very authentic, even when they show like the technology, like they did in the original Alien, where it doesn't quite hold up to today's technology. It looks very old school with the old tube monitors on the computers. So that's just a lot of fun to see, and yeah, like I said, it makes it look very authentic. And I enjoy the cast in the film, definitely solid, and I like the story. I do have a few issues with it, but yeah, definitely a solid entry in the Alien franchise, for sure. And it's probably the only film on this list that I could say is an actual good movie. Alright, so that's it for Franchise Frenzy, the Part 9's, created by the HorrorMan and Horrific Nightmares JM. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared. folks, and we got some brand new merchandise for you over at www.thehorrorkona.com, and that's CONA.com. Representing the Horror Corner. Great new design. We got the Morbid Hour live stream there, you got the Horror Hangout live stream there, and you got my nemesis, the Dark Fate. So grab your t-shirt over at www.thehorrorkona.com. And we also got this beautiful new mug. Look at that. Very, very cool. Thought that came out really nice. So grab your merchandise today over at www.thehorrorkona.com. Folks, don't forget to grab your Sean Patrick Erschen gear and represent the Horror Corner. Also check out these awesome mugs we have. Perfect for your coffee. And definitely check out the Horror Hangout live stream t-shirt and represent the legacy of the Horror Hangout. Check out the link in the description below this video.